And we'll give Zachary another couple of minutes, and if he shows up, we'll just mark him tardy and start the show. Oh, I actually just finished Judgment from the Ryoga Gotoku studio, the folks who do the Yakuza games. And good game. Definitely harmed with, I would imagine, Sega. Their incredibly greedy attempt to yank more money out of players via microtransactions, because the game is clearly um, designed to to incentivize players to drop money in the uh, PlayStation Store, because it's very, very grindy, and that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Sega doesn't have more respect for its own catalog, because that's definitely a demerit, and something I am extraordinarily surprised to have not seen in any of the reviews or reactions I'd read, because this game has some grindy, unfun moments in it, especially at the end. Not as bad as Koei Tecmo with their $92 season pass. Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly not the worst I've ever seen, but it's something that wasn't in the previous games. Now, the more recent games did have some DLC, and they were mostly like in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2. Most of the DLC was just uh, extra super special characters for the clan creator minigame. And it's like, you don't really need the clan creator for anything. There's a story attached to it, but it's perfectly playable just the way it is. It's not like I didn't feel playing it that it was designed so that you would need to go buy these extra characters. There was one piece of DLC, and the DLC descriptions are always so damn vague on the PlayStation Store that I'm like, I'm not even sure what this is. It sounded like, and I think it was Yakuza 6. There was you could get that Michio, the Hiroshima mascot, as a cabaret host. Or I'm not sure if it was a costume that you could put the hostesses in, or if it was like a new hostess with her own set of interactions and side story content. It's impossible to say. I can't tell because the description just doesn't say. And that sounds kind of cool, but it also does sound like an extra bit of fluff that you could be like, okay, I could see how that would be DLC. But Judgment, you need money in this game, because by the end of the game, a lot of the complete the checklist type of things, and it requires money, and there's really no good way to get it except through one mini game, which you have to have multiples of a in-game trinket to play. You have to have play passes, and you can only get them through either random drops and fighting people, or they're rewarded for beating some of the batting cage challenges. So either way, you either run around town just beating the snot out of everybody until they drop enough passes, or you play the batting cage over and over and over and over and over until you collect enough tickets. Then you can play this mini game, which is a good source of income, which you need to do the quick starter projects, which you need to buy these expensive drinks, which will give you more experience, which in turn you had to spend a lot of money to even make them available, and they're incredibly expensive in the first place. It is very, very grindy. You need to be able to play that mini game to make money. And they'll sell you those play passes on the PlayStation Store. Hurts the game because they purposefully made the game tedious, less fun, and grindy in order to incentivize the player to say, okay, Jesus, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll just drop a few bucks on some play passes, and so I don't have to do this anymore. That's not a great way to develop games. It may make you more money in the short term, I guess, but it's going to turn people like me against you. Game's already $60. Do you really need to nickel and dime people to death? There is a way to get permanent play passes, but it's extraordinarily expensive to do so. It costs, let's see, 2 million yen for the 2 that you pick up in the different casinos. There's one that you can buy from a guy for like 4 or to 5,000 experience points, which again cost money to get if you're towards the end of the game and don't really have outlets for gaining more experience. Unless I guess you could play through the game again if you want to rack up more experience, but I don't want to do that. I already played through the game. I had a fine time. There is where's the other one? There's one for beating the batting challenge, and that's fine. I think that's fair. And there's one for beating. There's Zachary. Hi, Zachary.
Hey, sorry about that. I kind of lost track of time and had to quickly say goodnight to all the kids. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm just harping about Judgment and its crappy microtransactions. Well, it has one microtransaction, but the game was... I like the game. It's a good game. It was a fun game. I enjoyed playing it, but it's clear that the developers, possibly forced to by Sega, but they deliberately made the game more grindy and tedious and less fun to play in parts to incentivize you to just throw up your hands and drop some money in the PlayStation Store to get the little play passes you need to play the mini game that gives you money so that you can do this stuff in the game.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And there's another one where there's the drone races, which are fun, but to get one of the things, you need to complete the last Grand Prix of the drone race, and I have the best drone in the game. And in order to win, you have to fly absolutely flawlessly. And I was like, wow, this is weirdly tough. And then I found out that some of the stuff they're selling in the store are new drone parts. Having trouble with that drone race? You want to finish that drone race because we'll get you the play pass thing so you don't, right? Well, if you drop $8 in the store, we'll give you some better drone parts. Oh, it is so scummy.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how most games are turning these days, and it's really annoying. It started out on mobile, where everybody was just like, "Oh, you want more stamina? Pay us some money. You want more gems? Pay us money." And now it's every system, every game has it these days, and
if it's free to play, I'd be like, okay, fine. But for a $60 game, it should not have free-to-play mechanics or monetization schemes in a $60 game. It's $60. I gave you $60. You don't need to nickel and dime me for more stuff just to make your game more fun. But what really buttered my toast here was I was reading the DLC, and one of them is let me pull it up here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. The Judgment Girlfriend Present Pack, which costs $8. Description includes 4 outfits to give your 4 potential girlfriends as gifts. Maybe if you ask nicely, they'll wear them out on dates. Okay, so 4 costumes for
Okay.
$8. Also includes Hit the Town with Sayori, the ability to wander the streets of Kamurocho with Sayori as your partner in the outfit of your choice. Okay, here's the problem though. That sounds like the exact same roam around Kamurocho with Haruka, which has
Yeah.
been in all of the previous Yakuza games for free. This sounds like the exact same feature, just with a different person, because there's different characters in this game.
Yeah.
So they took content out of the game to sell back to you. This is content that has been in every single one of the Yakuza games. Yakuza 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, and 6, and Dead Souls. I don't know about Ishin and
Yeah.
Kaisan. And actually, I don't think it's in Yakuza 0 either, because Haruka wasn't born yet. But this is the same mechanic where you get it sounds like it, at least from this description, where you get a partner and you can wander around and see the sights and play games with them. Only now, instead of being in the game, which it was in nearly every previous iteration,
Yeah.
you have to pay $8 for it. That's disgusting, Sega.
Yeah.
Have respect for your own franchise and don't do that. Don't do that. Bad
Yeah.
Sega.
It's one of the reasons why I really did not ever want to get into the new Killer Instinct game. Was the fact that it came with, I don't remember how many fighters for free, but you had to, if you wanted any of the characters you actually cared about, the ones you liked from the Super Nintendo or the N64, you had to pay for those individually. That was really stupid, and I hated that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was bad enough when when Soul Calibur had the one guy that I wanted to play as a pre-order bonus at a specific store.
Yeah, it's like the next Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah, you can play as Zelda. She's an $8 DLC character, though. It's like, wait. Zelda is extra DLC character for The Legend of Zelda? Really?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, it's like, well, you haven't been able to play her in any of the previous games except for Cadence of Hyrule and Hyrule Warriors and such. But
Yeah.
but maybe bad example. But like Luigi, there you go. Luigi would be a DLC character. Well, he's you know what I mean. It's crap.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So,
But, yeah. Yeah, video games are getting a lot of AAA games. And I'm saying this, AAA games are getting just as bad as everybody complained mobile games being, and for some reason it's not as, it is panned and hated within the gaming community, but it's doesn't seem to be as hated as much as they hate on mobile games for that exact behavior, and it's kind of weird.
I know. I mean, mobile games. If you want, mobile games are typically free. If you want to, you got to make money somehow. If you want to do it through advertisements or microtransactions, I'm cool with that. But you shouldn't be allowed to. There ought to be a law. You shouldn't be allowed to charge $60 for a video game and then put all of the free-to-play monetary schema in there too.
Yeah. Well, and I just watched a Jim Sterling video today about Ubisoft banning, so Ubisoft introduced, I guess, a quest editor or something for Assassin's Creed.
I was going to say Ubisoft is a bugbear.
Yeah.
I'm thinking nearly all of the game industry is a bugbear for Sterling. And rightfully so. I don't disagree with the man.
Yeah, but so they introduced this quest editor or level editor, story editor, or whatever it is for Assassin's Creed, and they've banned the ability to create or to gain XP from any user created quests. And so you can't create a quest that rewards you XP or something like that. And Jim Sterling pointed it out that that's because Ubisoft sells a experience booster in their store.
Oh my God! How transparent! Wow.
Yeah, it is. It is. I remember playing.
I was thinking, because I was thinking like, well, in Super Mario Maker 2, I think you play levels to earn coins or something so that you can in the story campaign, you like
Mhm.
play through the story campaign, and as you play you collect coins which you use to rebuild Peach's castle. Now I could understand if Nintendo was like, yeah, the coins you collect in the in the levels that you create don't count towards that because we want you to actually play through the story mode. That would I was thinking, okay, well that
Yeah.
kind of makes sense that they don't want you to um you know power level your character through user created levels and then take all the enjoyment out of the story. But if they're already selling EXP booster packs, they're just, they're just mad that you're getting in the way of their money.
Yeah. Well, it's like back when I played Neverwinter Nights, I would create little custom made levels and have loot and XP farms. You get a character who gives you a quest to open up the chest next to you, and inside the chest is a bunch of really cool equipment. And then when you talk to him again, you get like a million XP or whatever. And and that was just a way to power level your character to make playing the game a little bit easier because you could bring that character into the main story.
Mhm.
And it's basically easy mode, and for the game. And yeah, I don't care. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of the Game Genie and the Game
Yeah.
Shark and that kind of technology. Uh, I I I'm really annoyed that we don't have that kind of stuff these days for modern consoles, because it was just so much fun back in the day when you could just hex edit your way into godhood in most video games. But yeah. Yeah,
Um,
Addicted to Chaos says there are some people who defend the practice of microtransactions in AAA video games, and that, yeah, that's really annoying too.
I
But they're the type of
don't
people who
want it.
actually can afford to buy $100 worth of loot boxes in order to find that one piece of gear that they really, really want.
Sure, but even if you have the money to afford that, wouldn't you admit it would be better if you didn't have to pay to do that in a game you already paid for? What if
Yeah,
obtaining neat stuff was actually part of the game that you already paid for? Uh,
yeah,
I am I am I was gonna say proud, but I'm not proud. I'm thankful that Capcom has not succumbed to the temptation to sell like Elder Dragon Blood or Deep Dragon Gems for a buck on the PlayStation Store, so you don't have to actually play the game to get the components you need to make the armors and weapons that you want.
yeah. That would really suck.
Right, as Chaos is saying, just because you can, that would break the game. Chaos says just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should support the practice. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
like, I mean, I could afford a couple of dollars for play passes in Judgment. I could afford that,
Yeah,
but I'm not going to. It's crap. And
yeah,
the thing that makes it worse is they have deliberately made their game worse. They've made their game worse. They've made it tedious and grindy and boring in order to try to get you to spend more money. That's not a that's I was thinking about this today. I don't know what platform they do it for, but imagine if Disney stopped. They didn't stop making mid-credit scenes, but they started charging extra for them. It's like, imagine, Spider-Man: Far From Home has two great mid-credit and end-credit scenes, and imagine if they just started pulling those out of the movie in It's like,
You
did
had
you
to buy
like
a
that?
separate
Well,
ticket for, yeah.
you have to pay for them on Disney's streaming service if you want to watch them. It's like they used to be in the movie that I paid to go see. It used to
Yeah.
be part of the experience. Now they're removing that part of the experience and charging for it separately.
Yeah, and yeah, that would be really annoying, and another example of this are the DVD extras, and you can kind of say that you can buy the super cheap DVD that doesn't have any of the extras, or you can buy the Blu-ray with all of the director commentary and deleted scenes and all that kind of stuff. But if they said but if they decided to separate that out and say, no, you can pay the same price for that Blu-ray, but you got to pay another $10 online to get all these things. Yeah, people would be really upset, and that would fail miserably.
Yeah, it would be like if they started selling commentary tracks, riff track style, just on Warner's website or Universal's website. It's like, did you like that movie? Did you buy the Blu-ray? Well, now for an extra $3, you can have the commentary track. This used to actually come on the DVD or Blu-ray, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of places where this kind of stuff just would not fly, and it's mostly in the and it's the games industry is the only place where people actually let this happen. Let this kind of behavior go because there's no other way. I don't know. It's there was
some gamers just I don't get the things that some gamers will just die on the hill for.
Ideas.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some gamers will be like these incredibly exploitative practices that make the game worse and cost us more money. Cost of doing business. But Tifa's boobs are now in a sports bra. I will kill you. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's what bothers you?
Yeah, but today I read a story over on Polygon about this this gamer who played Killer Instinct. I mentioned Killer Instinct earlier, but
I didn't read the article though.
He played Killer Instinct, but there's this super easy Steam achievement that people are supposed to get. It's just win 10 matches. And but the achievement's been bugged since the launch of the game on Steam, and this guy spent a year harassing. I say harassing, but he's bypassing forum bans and stuff, just trying to get the developers to actually fix the bug. And he spent a year trying to get them and trying to raise awareness of this bug so that they could do it. And then finally he
abusive about it. I don't see
he wasn't abusive about it. He was just he just did his best to make one forum post a day to to raise this bug issue. But he didn't email constantly the developers or yell at them or whatever, but eventually he complained to the Better Business Bureau, and the very next day Microsoft gave him a call and said, yeah, we're or I don't know if they gave him a call, but they contacted him and said, yeah, we got somebody on this right now. And
that's all you had to do in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And but it's like that's the kind of passion that we need for other areas of video game video games, like the microtransactions issue. We need people to have that much passion on getting microtransactions out of paid for games. And but yeah, and then last year or the year before, I forget, it was a little while back, but Extra Credits did a video about the cost of games, and I mentioned this on a podcast before, but they talked about with the growing cost of making video games, they have to raise the price of games, and it's either charge 75 $80 for a game or charge $60 plus DLC or microtransactions or whatever. But and that kind of makes sense. If your game takes $200 million to make, you got to recoup that cost. And gamers
Fine.
like you
Charge
and
$80 for the game then.
yeah,
Just
and
do that.
that's kind of
Fine. If your game that costs you $250 million to make, and you think you're only going to sell X, price it appropriately. But don't do this. Oh, it's because it actually they're already doing that, and I don't know if a lot of gamers just don't realize that the $60 is the base game. And the game actually costs more because if they just charge $75 or $80 for these super expensive games, and that's not saying all games have to be that price and shouldn't be that price, but there
well,
are
you just know they're going to end up being that price.
yeah,
But
the problem is that Final Fantasy VII, they're like, look, it's a very expensive game, so it's going to be $80. Everyone else is going to be like, oh, well, then all games are $80. I think that's the thing is we need to get away from this. Games cost $60. No, games should cost whatever they should cost.
yeah, and
I see plenty of games they're like $25. I'm like, that game should not be more than $5.
Yeah, and that is an issue, and part of it is that a lot of AAA studios don't have a tiered game system, or tentpole system. For EA, Activision, Ubisoft not much actually, but Bethesda and Take-Two, their games have to be these huge tentpole blockbuster style games, or they don't think that they're doing things. Ubisoft has actually been branching out a little bit more and releasing some of these smaller projects, and that's something I admire about them, and I think that's great. I'm
Those help fund bigger things.
Yeah, and that's what more studios should be doing, and it shouldn't be these programs like Square Enix is doing, where they fund indie games in order and publish them. That's not what they really should be doing. What they should be doing is just letting their talent make games and make the games that they want to make. Have your big tentpole blockbusters, but have smaller projects going at the same time and releasing between your tentpole productions, and it would be a lot better of it, and they could release more games, make more money, have these smaller games. If one of them is a massive success and makes Minecraft loads of money, then so be it. But if one of them fails, it's $20 million or whatever to make this game, and we can write that off because these other games are kind of making up for it. But that's how the movie industry works. Yeah. Why can't the games industry work that way?
You could also you probably actually don't need to do that. You could probably do things like as Chaos is pointing out, devs need to be more responsible with their budgets. That's one thing. Also, if upper management are all pulling in, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, they don't need to be. Nobody needs to make that much money. Tell them to take a damn pay cut and put that into the games. Yeah. Because they're like, oh, we have to sell 6 million copies and all of this stuff because otherwise we can't give, CEO, $100 million a year plus the Christmas bonus. It's like that's what they're paying for. It's like, well, stop doing that.
Yeah. And I think just going back to the movie industry aspect of it, I think one of the ways that one of the reasons why it works there is because everything is project based. You bring on a crew. The crew is there for that project, and when they're done, they move on to the next project, whether it's at the same studio or a different studio. Mm-hmm. There is no 500 team movie production staff at Universal. They don't have a full-time staff. they hire on people from various guilds and unions to work on a project, and when they're done, they move on. That's how the movie industry works, and it's easier to manage smaller projects that way because they can just say, "Hey, I need a gaffer and whatever, a cameraman and and some extras for this project. Send me whoever you got," and then they get that in. They get the cheap guys instead of the expensive ones. But yeah, it's a little bit more difficult when you have a full-time staff of hundreds and you got to keep them all busy at once.
Sure.
But maybe game studios just need to manage their personnel in that fashion. It's like, I've got this project going and it needs extra crew to work on it at this stage. Well, this one is at a stage where they need fewer people. Let's move them over here, and maybe
if
that
you're
could work. I
having
don't know.
trouble with that, your management sucks.
Yeah.
Hire them and replace them with people who can do that, because that's literally the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and
The problem is when you fire people, they usually don't fire people. They just promote them. It's like, oh, every time we have $600 million in profit, but we have to lay off like 800 people every year. You're terrible at this. You're not going to manage this anymore. Instead, you'll be the president. What? No, it shouldn't be how that works.
Yeah, it's called failing upwards.
Failing upwards.
Yeah, and it's an issue in all areas.
Oh, yeah,
it's like every industry has that problem.
Yeah, Chaos got the fail upward thing too. Yeah. All right, let's move to topics. Here's a slight one. Did you see the trailer for the new Lupin III movie?
I did not. I to be honest, I saw some screenshots of the trailer and I'm like, what's a Lupin III?
Oh, well, okay. Short conversation then. So Lupin the Third's a manga from like the 70s or something, and it's a fun guy, gentleman spy, wacky sidekicks, and it's had several different TV series, bunches of movies. Probably the Castle of Cagliostro is the most well known. So they're doing another movie, but this one's going to be a 3D CG movie. And I'll admit, when I first heard that, I went, oh no. that could be bad. Just because the characters are so well known and specific and have such a distinct style. I was really curious to see how well that would translate to 3D. So I watched the trailer and I was like, "Wow!" With Fuji, with the exception of Fujiko, all of them translate really, really well. Now, granted, Fujiko has had a bunch of different looks, so maybe her character model is based more on a design of her that I'm not as familiar with, but damn, I'm like, okay, I don't know if the movie's going to be good or bad, but they definitely got the monkey punch, the mangaka's name, that actual look. The characters look like themselves just in 3D. So kudos to whatever studio's doing that. Looks really good. They're doing a Dragon Quest movie, and
nice.
That one. It's not now. Dragon Quest has been in 3D with video games for a long time, but the style is kind of halfway between what's his face who does the Dragon Quest, whose name I'd recognize. It. Someone put it in the chat. I'll recognize it. It's not exactly that style. It's kind of like based on that style. It's maybe slightly less cartoony than that style, influenced by that sound. Some people kind of had a problem with that. I was like, it looks deliberate. It doesn't look like they tried and failed. It looks deliberate. Lupin the Third, the First, whatever it is, Toriyama. It's like Akira Toriyama, right, Cass?
Yeah.
This one looks like they're like, we want them to look exactly like what they look like in the comic book and the cartoon series and movies, and Yeah, they nailed it. So
Yeah. Well, and which is probably good because we have our recent example of Sonic the movie, and that Sonic looks absolutely nothing like Sonic, and it's just it's terrible,
I think
and
I
I
remember someone just said it's like, we saw the redesign and you're gonna love it. So
yeah, I saw that. And this happens, I think, with every new medium that something like this is brought into. You are going to have those conversations. How closely should we stick with the source material?
mhm.
Um, what translates to this new medium, what does not, and yeah, I'm glad that they found a way to translate these characters into a 3D 3 dimensional
You know
animation
what
style.
was an interesting adaptation that was the Peanuts movie they did a few years ago. I didn't see it, but I saw the previews. I'm like, huh, that's pretty accurate 3D representations of the Peanuts characters. So
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if I actually watched the movie or not. I know it came out a few years back, but yeah. One example of a complete change, which is actually it's not so much a bad change. It's just a very that's weird change. Is the new Lion King movie? Pumbaa is just it's a weird transition because Pumbaa was this very rotund
the
and
Warhol.
the warthog. Yeah, he was a very rotund warthog with a small snout and tusks, but also he had that chocolate brown fur, and then you see Pumbaa in the trailers for the Lion King 3D live action movie,
It's
and he
just
looks like a real life warthog, and it's very weird, and it's a very weird transition. um and it's not a bad transition. It's just that just doesn't seem like Pumbaa to me, because all the other animals, save maybe Timon as well, but all the other animals looked like cartoon. Uh, looked like um, anatomically correct 2D animated versions of the animals, but Pumbaa just didn't look like a warthog. Maybe they thought that
that
translating a warthog directly to 2D just didn't look good, and so
also
they
probably looks a little threatening.
yeah
I thinking on it, yeah, I think you're right. The Pumbaa's probably the most caricatured of the animal designs.
yeah.
Uh, they
But
just
yeah,
made him a lot more
a lot
expressive
more
because
cuddly.
Warthog's face didn't move much.
Yeah, warthogs, they have these broad flat snouts with huge gnarly tongue tusks, and matted dark brown nearly black hair, and
Have you ever looked
yeah.
at a warthog and went, "Yeah, I know what that guy's thinking"? No, you haven't. You can't. No, they're not very expressive.
Mm-mm. But yeah, no. But good on the Lupin guys,
Yeah.
getting in there with a good representation of that franchise. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. I
Did you?
haven't.
While we're on the subject, did you see the trailer for the Nino Cooney movie?
No, I haven't. Uh,
That looked shockingly bad to me. I mean, I
oh
looked at
yeah.
it like I need to rewatch some of the animated stuff from the original Nino Cooney, but I think that was better. I think what it is just that the design and color palette is bland in the movie. I don't know if they're going for gritty and realistic or something, but it loses a lot of that magic and flavor that the original Nino Cooney had.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if the movie's going to be any good or not, but I remember watching the trailer and going, why does that not look good? I was, oh man, full feature Nino Cooney movie. This is going to look amazing. And I watched it when it does not look amazing. It looks kind of
Yeah.
pretty. but we'll see how it turns out.
Ooh, Dragon Quest IX for Switch.
I
I
had
wouldn't
not,
complain. I haven't heard about that, but Dragon
but
Quest IX was a DS title, right?
yeah,
Or was,
I
yeah.
played it for about 30 hours, and all 30 of them, I was like, I just don't want to play this on the handheld. I want to play it on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, if they want to remake it for Switch, that'd be great. Because I
Yeah.
haven't played Dragon Quest IX yet. I still need to finish Dragon Quest VIII. I just don't have that much time to. Well, I say I don't have that much time to put into a big RPG like that, but I put in over 200 hours into Stardew Valley. I think I can work an RPG in there somewhere, just as long as the save system accommodates my. I've got 15 minutes right now to play.
Yeah. So, Minecraft Earth. Now, the beta starts soon. And so there was a trailer that went out to advertise it. And I thought this trailer was a lot better than the original announcement trailer because I could actually figure out how the hell the game plays. So, did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, and
Okay,
it looks
so
like Minecraft Pokemon Go.
yeah,
With
so
that
I don't
added
play.
mini game, building mini
Yeah,
game, I
I don't
guess.
play mobile games. I don't play Pokemon Go. I don't play Minecraft. So I'm really interested in your reaction. What do you? Does this look fun? Does it look interesting?
Um, the AR aspect of it looks fun, but the problem is my crappy phone here
Mhm.
doesn't support AR. I cannot.
Uh-oh. Zachary is stuck. Zachary, your feed is completely paused and there is no sound if you can hear me. Oh dear.
Use the AR mode.
Mm, you blinked out there for about 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I could hear you the entire time, but
Oh, okay.
you were completely paused.
Oh, all
But
right. So we both
okay, but
experienced the same thing. So last I heard,
well,
you're
I've been
not
having
AR.
yeah. Yeah, I've been having internet issues the past few days, and it's been driving me nuts. But yeah, my phone doesn't support AR. I can't take pictures of Pokemon in the real world like you're supposed to be able to. Um, and so my phone would not support that AR mode in Minecraft Earth, which is about the only aspect of that actually would be fun. And the rest of it, the rest of it I would probably play for a little bit, see how it goes, see what my kids think. But it all depends on just what all is available to do without the AR. And Minecraft is one of those franchises that my family and I would actually enjoy playing like this because we all like Minecraft in this
Yeah,
house.
without the AR, I guess all you could do is just collect blocks, just collect
Pretty
material.
much, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to build anything.
Unless you can build outside of AR,
Yeah.
and you can build the things, and then if you ever get an AR supported phone, then you could throw all that stuff into the real world. But it all depends on what all they let you do without the AR stuff, because otherwise it would just be like playing a dumbed down version of Minecraft. But yeah. But I'm definitely still going to try it, whether my phone supports it or not.
All right. Well, I have nothing to add to that. I don't like Minecraft and I don't like mobile games, so it's probably not for me. But I am glad that they finally released a trailer where I can look at it and actually understand what the game is, what this.
Yeah, exactly. Because the E3 presentation just showed off the AR building stuff. It didn't show off the actual, what you're going to be doing on your phone the rest of the time.
But it showed it off in the sense of showing off another video game with a completely pre-rendered out of engine trailer. that
Yeah.
has not, it's like, okay, that's a neat thing, but what's the game?
Hmm.
I mean, it was a cute commercial,
Yeah, it
but
was. I mean, yeah,
it didn't tell me anything. I had to use my knowledge of video games to kind of guess what the game probably was, which I
yeah.
don't think is what the goal of your advertisement should be.
No, it shouldn't.
Don't
And
think.
yeah, but yeah, this is just a another game in the trend of doing um Pokemon Go style games. Pokemon Go was a huge hit, so now everything has to be Pokemon Go these days. I still haven't tried the Harry Potter one because I'm just not into Harry Potter. I watch the movies and I'm like, yeah, those were movies. I haven't read the books yet because I'm just not that interested in it. But because I saw the movies and I was just like, eh. If I thought the movies were really awesome, I would have read the books. But I may read the books one day. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other games that have come out in the same
Dr.
fashion.
Mario.
Dr. Mario is just. I've actually played Dr. Mario, but it's nothing like a Pokemon Go clone. Um, but yeah, since you brought it up, I have played Dr. Mario. Have you played it yet? Did you try it?
Not the mobile version.
Not the mobile version.
I've played regular
Oh yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Mario, but I
And
didn't play the mobile version.
yeah,
It's going to be just more cooldown timer, microtransaction. I mean, it's free, so it's fine, but I don't want to play.
yeah. It's got the cooldown timer, which isn't. I haven't played it enough where I've actually been stopped by the cooldown timer. You get 5. You can bank 5 turns. I think I've done stuff to earn turns, so I've never actually gone below 3 turns in a session. Um, but it plays about what you would expect a mobile version of Dr. Mario to play, and instead of the pills dropping from the top and
Yeah, they
you
come up from the
moving
bottom.
them across, moving them and flipping them around. You have them and you pull them up onto the play thing and they move up, and you can tap on them and you can move them side to side and forward, but you just can't move things back.
It makes
And
sense. If it was at the top, you'd be blocking the phone with your hand. So
yeah, but yeah, everything floats from the top, and you move the pills around. You tap them to spin them, and you can position them where you want as long as you don't try to go backwards, because they're just not going to go backwards. And so far, it's a pretty good translation of the Dr. Mario gameplay. I read some reviews on the Google Play Store, and these people are just like, "This isn't real Dr. Mario," and I'm just like, "Then go play Dr. Mario on your NES. And stop complaining about a mobile game. That's not for you."
there was a Dr. Luigi game.
Was there?
I think it was on Wii U, if I'm remembering correctly. It was an eShop game, I think.
Okay. Um,
But this one actually has a bunch of. It's got like
it's
Dr.
got a bunch of
Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Toadette, all kinds of them.
Yeah, you can start out. You start out as Dr. Mario when you play the introductory levels, but then you can once you beat the introductory levels, you get to choose between Mario, Peach, and Bowser, and that's the character you play as until you can afford to unlock other doctors.
I want
And,
Dr. Rossetti. Crazy angry guy with the
uh,
ah!
but I'm
He's not in Animal Crossing anymore, so you got to have him somewhere.
Yeah, but each doctor has their own skill. Like if you fill up your skill meter, you can use the skill. And Bowser clears 2 random rows from the game board, and I forget what Mario and Peach do, but I saw that and I'm just like, yeah, that's actually a good skill, and I use that. And then you can get other characters like Goombas and Koopas and stuff like that as partners. I guess you're nurses or whatever, and and they give you experience bonuses and stuff, which is kind of neat. But I'm only on like level 35 or so. I haven't gotten too far into it, but I've enjoyed it so far. I'll play it until I reach that that artificial cap where you kind of have to spend money. Oh, speaking of money, this is one of the weird things. You collect coins as you go along, but I haven't found an actual use for coins. At first, I thought, oh, you could buy these little power ups that you can get. Because you can get little things that give you a little edge in the level, but no, you got to use diamonds for those, and the diamonds are the premium currency that you have to pay real money for. I was like, okay, well, maybe you use them to recruit new doctors and stuff. Nope, those are you either unlock those as you play the game, or you have to pay with the gems, the diamonds. And I'm just like, then what the crap are the coins for? I've got over 5,000 coins, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. It's really annoying. It's like, explain your mechanics, will you? Yeah.
All right, last topic. The Nintendo Switch Lite was just announced this week.
And I keep calling it the Mini, and I know I'm wrong, but I don't care.
Well, I mean, you could just reverse the names and call it the Nintendo Light Switch.
There we go. The light switch. I like it.
So it makes me. So I've actually had more fun trying to think of names for the
Switch Pro.
Kind of. I'm like, well, if this is the Switch Lite, would it be the Switch Heavy? But I mean, it's not that kind of light, so maybe it'd be the Switch Dark. But then I was thinking, no, it's going to be more powerful, so it could be the get this, because we're going into the nostalgia for the old magazine, Nintendo Power Switch. There
we go.
I kind of like the Nintendo Power Switch.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. But they'll end up calling it, if they go with power, it'll be the Switch Power. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the Switch Pro name, because they've got the Pro controller, and it just I doubt they would want to cause that kind of confusion. But
well, before we speculate on something that hasn't been announced yet, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch Lite. So the Nintendo Switch Lite, Nintendo Switch, the regular version costs $300. This costs $200. It is
not too bad.
Yeah. So the difference is it's a little smaller than. Let me turn that off so I'm not blinding you guys. So it's a little smaller than this.
Yeah, it's what 2 inches. The screen is 2 inches smaller, I believe.
No, I think this is like 6.2 inches, and the Lite is 5.8 or something. So it's like half an inch smaller.
It's smaller. That's for sure.
Let me. I had a comparison at some point. Where did I go?
Yeah, there was a comparison somewhere.
So 8 screen, 6.2 inch touchscreen, and it's 5.5 inch touchscreen on the.
Okay, so it's a little over half an inch drop, 0.7 inches.
Get likes Light Switch. She's on board with that. So it's a little smaller. The Joy-Cons do not come off. They're permanently affixed to the sides.
Yeah. There's this
is now an actual plus pad. The IR thing is gone. There's no HD rumble. There's actually no kickstand either.
Yeah.
Because even though I think you can
pair action
controllers, but you're supposed to be holding it like this the whole time. So they took the kickstand away. I would imagine you could still pair the Pro controller to it. I don't know for sure.
I would assume so, because you can pair actual Joy-Cons with it.
Right. They actually show that in the video that someone's trying to player with another Joy-Con. So also the Switch Mini, the Light Switch, will not plug into a dock. It doesn't come with a dock. It won't plug into an existing dock. It will not output to the TV. So it is only a portable.
Yeah, and it's not just that it won't plug into the dock to output HD. You can't even you wouldn't be able to even use a third party dock that doesn't have the full enclosure, like the Nyko kickstand dock or whatever it is, the one that's just a stand with the.
Also, I assume it won't work with the Nintendo Labo VR thing because it's
Probably not,
smaller.
because it won't fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think with the Labo VR, you have to take the Joy-Cons off and you just put the screen in the headset. And
Hmm.
you can't take the Joy-Cons off of this one, and the whole thing is a different size, so the way the lenses are staring at the screen probably wouldn't line up.
No, they wouldn't, and that would be an issue. But
So
I
the
doubt.
light switch also is incompatible with some games, or at least some portions of some games, like 1-2 Switch, that really require HD rumble and detached Joy-Cons, and
Yeah.
some modes won't work. But it's probably a sturdier piece of kit, so probably a little bit more child friendly than this one is.
Yeah.
Um, Also, something they didn't mention in the commercial, which kind of surprised me, is it's got slightly better battery life. Not much, but slightly better. The comparison page says the
Goes.
original Switch is 2.5 to 6.5 hours. The light Switch is 3 to 7. And it says Zelda on this would be about 3 hours. Breath of the Wild would be about 4 hours on the light Switch. So,
Yeah.
my guess is, the small they've got, a lot of the internals are new, smaller form factor, smaller chips and dies and stuff like that. So it's using less power. It's not having to worry about HD rumble. That's probably where you're getting the slight gains on the battery from, would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Going back to the games thing, the game compatibility thing on the comparison page, it basically it just says if the game box has the handheld mode icon, you can play it on the Switch, and that's the core idea. If a game doesn't have that on there, you're not going to have any luck playing it with it unless you want to pair external controllers to it. But then again, you're not going to be able to hook it up to your TV, so you're going to be playing it on this tiny screen sitting on your desk or table or whatever on a third-party dock or a makeshift dock, so that you can play your big screen game on a tiny screen. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
not exactly what this is meant for.
So it
Um,
comes in either gray, turquoise, or yellow.
yeah,
Or there's actually a Pokemon Sword and Shield one, which is a grayish blue and red color.
yeah, but that one doesn't come out until Pokemon Sword and Shield are released.
This is
So
what,
these
September?
September, yeah, sometime in September. I forget what. But yeah, I know it goes on sale in September.
September 20th.
And 20. Okay. Um, but yeah, this is definitely a switch for the handheld consumer.
Yeah,
People who
it's
primarily play on the 3DS or other handheld
yeah,
device.
it's essentially the 2DS. You take the
Yeah,
the it's a 3DS just without the 3D, and we've made it a lot more sturdy. It doesn't have as many moving parts, so it's not as easy to break and knock $100 off the price. Okay.
yeah.
Which is interesting, is you think of the Switch losing functionality, you think the portability, but no, they're like, no, the TV.
Yeah, and but yeah, so this is targeting those mobile consumers, the handheld consumers, and and I look at this, I'm like, okay, so Nintendo's getting rid of the 3DS,
Yeah.
but Nintendo says no, no. We're still
Yeah.
100% for the 3DS. It's still going strong.
Three
We're
pillars.
yeah, we're not saying goodbye to the 3DS at any point. I'm like, you haven't released a game in it for it over a year now, and the largest mobile or the largest handheld franchise you have, Pokemon, is moving to the Switch. The 3DS is dead. I'm sorry. There's you may still have them on the shelves, but just call it dead and say it's dead. It's just Nintendo is just one of those funky companies where they just won't admit when they're ready to move on, and it's really
You know what the
frustrating
weirdest
sometimes.
thing to me was with their announcement video is the dude in the video, who I forget who it is, what his name is. Um, about 4 minutes into the video, he he's saying that the Switch will not hook up to your TV, and then he walks through a door, ostensibly outside, and then puts his hand up against the glare of the bright sun. I'm like, oh, does it have a less reflective screen that is more suitable to playing outdoors under harsh lighting? Nope. No, they just they choreographed having they block the action, so they walks out, squints at the sun, and then just moves on. It's like, why is that even there? It's so
Uh,
weird. I totally thought they were going to do some, glare. It's got a better screen that's more suitable for playing outdoors under the sunlight, so it doesn't.
yeah.
So you're not just looking at a reflection of your face. But no, they just said, "Hey, John, you know what you're going to do here? Just squint at the sun." Because we want to put the impression it's like you can go out, you can only go outside with this where it's bright and sunny and hard to see and uncomfortable, and you have to squint. I don't understand that moment in the trailer at all.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to look at, it's about 4 minutes and 25 seconds in.
Yeah. But yeah, I look at this and I think the Switch Lite is a pretty good deal, I think, and for $100
I
less,
was
you get
watching the trailer and I was thinking to myself that this thing better be 199. Because
yeah.
they do something like 275 or 249. No, for what you're losing, this better not be any more than 200 and 199.99. So
Yeah, and I think it's a great deal, and the fact that the games for the Switch Lite and the games for the Switch are the exact same games, minus those ones that actually need the HD rumble and all of that. Um, that's a really awesome thing, and this is what a lot of people have been asking for Nintendo, even before they officially announced the Switch. Was just if you're gonna do it, just go both ways, and have the Switch, have your handheld, but have them use the same games. There's no reason to segregate the games out anymore. And now that we have the Switch, there's no excuse not to do it. When they were doing optical media,
but can
yeah, they couldn't
still
really.
call it the Switch? Maybe I mean the 2DS, was called the 2DS because it was no longer 3D.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would do with the Switch, though. I guess you could call it the Nintendo Sino, Switch in name only, or something. The Nintendo, not a Switch.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that is the sad case of their naming convention. They had this name, the Switch, and it helped describe the coolness, what the gimmick of the machine. But yeah, now they took away the gimmick, and
Nintendo's
there's no
like,
way to
no,
change
no,
it.
that's it was always a sex thing. It was never the TV and portable thing. So we're still good. You sure about that, Nintendo?
Yeah, but yeah, I like the Switch Lite, and I would probably get one and make that my. To be honest, I like my PSP. I probably won't ever get a Vita, but I do like my PSP, and that's how I've played a ton of games lately, especially PS1 classics. And but yeah, I would probably get a Switch Lite just so that I could have that ability to play Switch games whenever I want, and have a Switch on the big TV for those times when I actually have that moment to play. But mostly for the kids, let them play on the TV because I'm mostly in my office all day anyways, and when I do get done with work, I just want to go and just sit down somewhere and not be at my desk. And I generally don't want to just sit there and watch TV or watch what my kids are watching. So I'll pull out my phone or I'll pull out my PSP or something. I'll play games there. Um,
Children have terrible taste. I don't want to watch your dumb shows. Your shows
yeah,
suck. Uh,
yeah,
one minor critique is I think the screen looks a little weird not having some type of border around it, because
yeah.
it's just the screen sitting in the middle of this yellow or turquoise casing. Like in the original Switch, you have this black, but it's actually the unit, but you have this framing around the screen,
Hmm.
and the light switch doesn't have that, and it looks just a
Well,
little odd.
they have a bevel around it.
Right, but I think the bevel should be black to frame the screen. It looks a little weird to me that the
Yeah,
bevel's the same color as the unit.
yeah, I can see, I see what you mean, because they've got this top down view of four people playing on Switches. Two of them have the normal ones, and the other two have the Switch Lites. And yeah, you can see which, yeah, you can immediately pick out which one's which, just because the people playing on the original Switch have the black border around the screen with they're both using the neon control Joy Cons, but even if they had the gray Joy Cons, you'd be able to immediately see. But yeah, um, I don't mind the matching color bevel. It's not that disconcerting.
No, it just looks a little odd. I'm sure it'd be fine once you're playing it.
But I will definitely be getting the gray one. When I get one, just 'cause I'm not a big fan of bright colored handhelds. Um, I have the original Game Boy, and then I got when I got my Game Boy Pocket, I got the translucent one, which I thought was cool. But I was well, no, I was 16 when I got that because I actually had a job and could afford it. My PSP is the silver one, but I have a black rubberized cover to go on it just so I can actually hold it because it's a slippery little devil. Um, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the bright colors.
I, I, what's interesting is they didn't do the same black coloring of the original Switch. I guess so that when the original Switch is undocked, there's no confusion over which one is a light and which one is a not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see why they would do that. I'm waiting. I might end up just waiting for the NES color scheme, like they did with the with the SP and the D. Did they do it one for the DS? I forget, but
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I know they did one for the SP, and that just looks great. I love it, and I really want to get one. But but yeah, if they ever do that for the Switch Lite, I would definitely get it because I like that design. I like that
Black
color.
and different grays with the red buttons.
Yeah, and then the stripe on it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, this is my it's like they had the little they fake these grid and then the black stripe on it. They had that on with the dark gray bottom and the light gray top, and it just looks great. I like it, and I want to get an SP like that SP.
Chaos says they did do that for the 3DS. So
Okay, awesome. Then I
hard
want to
for
get.
me to remember if they actually did that or from what I'm because I can picture it, but I'm like, am I remembering a fan mock-up? Like, Kotaku saying, "Please, Nintendo, do this. Look how neat it looks." Or if
Yeah.
they're really so. Yeah, I don't remember. But all I know is I stood in line for hours, and then they ran out of the black GameCubes, and I didn't want a purple one, so I went to a different store and sat there for several hours until they opened so I could get a black one.
Yeah,
It's
I've got the
not
platinum
purple.
one. I didn't like the purple one either. Mine's a platinum one, which is nice. I like it.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so I think that's the show for tonight. Let's see. Did you see Spider-Man?
Yes, I did. I really liked it. It was really good.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, that's because you're a heretic, but
That's true. I'm just a really bad fanboy.
yes, you are. Yeah,
Man,
apparently, Marvel's not paying you enough to
that's what check didn't clear.
like their stuff.
Come on, Disney. Uh, I'm
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a
something.
I thought it was a fun follow up to Endgame, and while it didn't show too much of what life is like after the snapping and the rebackening or whatever they call it, the blip in the movie, and which is kind of annoying, but uh,
Yeah, that worked for us.
yeah, it just didn't really feel like whatever you would call it, but what I would call it, but they showed a little bit of what life was like, and but they didn't really focus on that aspect, which I thought was okay, because they I finally figured out what in the trailers. You had the fundraiser scene with Aunt May and Happy Hogan with his giant check and stuff. I really didn't understand exactly what that was for until I actually saw the movie, and it turns out it's a fundraiser for people who were snapped away and came back, and all of their property was gone because everybody thought they were dead. And so it's like,
Yeah,
Aunt May talked about how when she came back,
someone
the
was
people
living in
thought
the house.
somebody was living in her house, and the grandma that was living there thought she was a ghost, and and everything. And it was,
'Cause
yeah.
she just snapped or blipped or whatever right back into the house because she happened to
Well,
be there.
yeah, apparently that's what happened, because they show some footage from like security cameras and stuff of people returning or being snapped away and then coming back, like in the middle of a basketball gym. The
Yeah.
band was playing and half the band was snapped away or whatever, and then when they came back, it's like they were in the middle of practice or an actual game or something, and then the band just kind of magically appears right in the middle of the game, and people are tripping over tubas and stuff. It was hilarious. I thought that was hilarious. But man, that tacky school tribute video to the Lost Avengers, I'm just like, yeah, that's definitely a school tribute video, because no serious director, designer, whatever would do the Arms of the Angels song for the Avengers. I was just like, man, this is terrible. Tony would totally hate that song.
I was also surprised to see Black Widow in the montage. Like, would anyone have known or cared? I guess.
I
Well,
think the Avengers
she was
would have.
known on the team. I
Yeah,
suppose.
she was known on the team, and she was the leader of the Avengers in that 5-year period. And I think,
That's true.
yeah, so people would have known about her, and they would have announced her death. I
Well, and
think.
she did dump her entire, shield and all of her dirty laundry onto the internet back in was it
Civil
Civil
War.
War? Or,
Oh,
no,
it was Winter Soldier. Yeah.
So everyone's had plenty of time to get to know what's her face, Black Widow.
But no tribute for Quicksilver, which is
Yeah,
sad.
no one cares
But
about
he
Quicksilver.
died. He died back in the
Or
Ultron, so because Vision was in
wait,
there.
yeah, oh yeah. No, Scarlet Witch came back. I was thinking of it because Vision was in there too. I was like, what about Scarlet? I'm like, no, she snapped away, and then I guess she blipped back at some point.
Yeah,
Right,
she was in the
Avengers. She beats the snot out of Thanos. She said, "You
yeah,
took everything from me." He's like, "Who are you? I don't know who you are."
yeah. But I thought it was funny. I like but going back to Spider-Man, I liked the European vacation, school trip uh, thing, because it was a fun running gag with the teacher and everything. I enjoyed that, and I going in I knew Mysterio was going to be a lying liar who lies, and
I mean, that's who Mysterio. I mean,
yeah,
unless you have genuinely no idea who the character of Mysterio is, that should not come as a surprise to you. But not everyone knows who Mysterio is, so I mean,
but
I'm
yeah,
sure that was a surprise to someone.
yeah. Well, even though I knew it going in, I still had fun trying to pick out the clues and everything else leading up to that point. Because it was fun looking for that kind of stuff. It's like going back and rewatching The Sixth Sense and looking for all those signs that you missed the first time you watched it. But this time I knew going in something. Mysterio is a lying liar who lies, and so I was looking for those clues and having fun playing detective, while Peter was just
I,
starstruck, I guess you could call it.
I just want to hang out with my friends on my school trip. I don't want to save the world. Don't I need a break? Man, that whole scene where he's like fighting bad guys with machine guns in a restaurant or something like that. It's not even in the movie.
No, it's not, and
The
they
whole scene too, and it must have been a pacing thing because I was thinking this movie
yeah,
got
it was.
kind of a slow start, so that's probably why they took it out.
Yeah.
'Cause they wanted,
Um,
let's get these kids on their trip as quick as possible because at this point they don't even get there till the 40-minute mark, so we need to start tightening this up. I will say though, I really enjoyed the trippy way they visualized Mysterio's illusions and those set pieces towards the end of the film. I thought that was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, those were really good. I liked them, and I liked the reveal that it wasn't. I don't know. Can we go into spoilers here or not?
Movie's been out for a week. I don't know. We're at the end of the show, so spoilers.
Yeah. So I liked that Mysterio wasn't a one man show.
Yes.
I liked that, and it felt more real because in uh, in the Spider-Man animated series back in the '90s, Mysterio was always a one-man show, and he had these little hollow cubes that he would throw out and stuff. And we already did go into spoilers, so too late. But it just never really felt right that Mysterio was a one-man show, and now he's not, and it was amazing. It was a fun reveal, and the only thing that I didn't like as much, but I kind of felt, okay, this is the universe it's in. It was all about Tony Stark again, and and that was one of the things that kind of bugged me. But I kind of let it slide. But it's just the Vulture was mad at Tony Stark, and that's how he became the criminal he was. And Mysterio and his crew were mad at Tony Stark, and that's why they became who they are. And
Damn it, Tony! You're responsible for most of the villains.
I know, but I'm just waiting for that day when a villain is truly Spider-Man's villain in one of these movies, and not just a villain that Spider-Man defeats, like the Vulture and Mysterio, but somebody that either just comes out of the blue and is solely focused on Spider-Man, or Spider-Man makes it his mission to stop him, or somebody who actually has a grudge with Spider-Man.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be that one kid who didn't, the one kid in his class who didn't blip and is like seriously a lot older than all of them, or who was like
I think,
a ninth grader when they left, and now he's a 12th grader or something. You know which one I'm talking about.
yeah, I know
Who's
which one you're
competing
talking
for
about.
MJ's affections? That
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. I don't think he's going to be a villain. It doesn't seem like it. But
But he could be, because that's at least a personal to Peter Parker kind of.
but the Scorpion is one, because in the after credits scene for the Homecoming, you have Scorpion trying to get. Um,
Was he part of the Vulture's crew though?
I don't know. No, he wasn't part of Vulture's crew. He was just some thugs that Spider-Man stopped and in an
Oh,
earlier thing or scene, and I think he was one of the people who was trying to buy tech off of, or who was trying to sell tech to um, Danny Glover's character.
oh,
Maybe, yeah. But I think the next movie, because we got J. Jonah Jameson's back and J.K. Simmons is in the role, and I'm super excited about that. I think the next movie is going to be him recruiting Scorpion and getting the Scorpion tech. I think that's what the next movie is going to be, and I think that would be an awesome thing to go with, um, because that just seems like something that, how things would go. A lot of people are talking about Craven would be a great one, which I'm okay with, I guess. But I think the Scorpion angle is where I would want to go, because I would love to see
Craving. They've never tried to do Craven. Well, they've never done Scorpion live action either. So
Yeah, I just hope they continue with this, with the villains that they haven't touched yet, because we've had Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, Venom, another Green Goblin, um, and another Green Goblin,
hey,
and
the kid in his class
Electro.
could be Hobgoblin.
Yeah, Electro. Who else? Who was the villain of the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? Was that just the Green Goblin?
Electro, wasn't it?
Or was it Electro?
Yeah, it was. What's his name?
Okay, yeah, I know who it was, but Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
Um,
Foxx. Thank you. Yeah.
Then who was the villain in the second one? Was
I
that the
don't.
Green Goblin? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Dullum the Han or whatever his name is in there.
A lizard. The lizard was the first villain. Okay, thank you, Addicted to
Wait,
Chaos.
was Electro in one or two?
Electro was in the second one.
Was he?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, Electro was part two. Okay. So yeah, but they're using but we've got Vulture now and Mysterio, and both of them were great, and I loved them. And I can love Spider-Man villains again, because they did a terrible job with Lizard and Electro, and the only good Green Goblin was in the first Sam Raimi movie.
Didn't like the outfit, but
Yeah, the outfit was bad, but William Dafoe just nailed the role.
William Dafoe was great, and the glider was great, but God, that Power Rangers costume was just awful.
It was.
The cape helped, but
Yeah.
you see some behind the scenes footage of this animatronic goblin mask that they were actually working on.
We're originally
It
used.
looked so cool.
Yeah, it did. But yeah.
But no, that's cool. Let's do something stupid, visually dumb looking rather.
Yeah. So, but going back to my theoretical next Spider-Man movie, now that we've been talking all this up, and I think they may actually go with the Sinister Six, now that I think about it, where J. Jonah Jameson puts out a bounty on Spider-Man, and that attracts a bunch of supervillains into town, and maybe J. Jonah Jameson's actually recruits the Scorpion and gives him some tech to help, but that brings in Craven the Chameleon, and maybe a couple other guys who come out of the woodwork to help. Maybe Vulture comes back or something. I don't know, but do a Sinister Six, and that would actually be kind of fun. It would feel like an actual deserved Sinister Six, rather than trying to force feed us Sinister Six and the Andrew Garfield ones.
Well, we'll see. I did think the end credit stuff. It was kind of frustrating, because I found the potential of where this might be going more interesting than the movie itself. It was kind of like the Terminator 3 ending, where I'm like, ooh, this is the movie I want to see. I mean, the movie was fine. I enjoyed it fine enough, but I'm like, I want the movie to continue right here. I want to keep watching from here, because this is really interesting. So
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. But I think that's it for us for tonight. So let us plug our things and get out of here. Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube to find my videos and follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen. Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, where I talk about gaming and politics and other things. You can follow my game development work at DK_gaming and DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com.
All right, you've been listening to the 153rd episode of Molehill Mountain. Thank you much for that, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.